The biggest thing for us is if we are not catching fish at that time, there's always a pot of fish somewhere on that lake that is willing to eat. And so we do not stay in one spot for very long. You know, if people don't know, Ashley and I had our show actually on TV on Valley Sports.
So for people that are really interested in getting their kids out to do like fishing around the area, what are some of your best recommendations besides bring a bunch of snacks? Can you just walk us a little bit through like preparation for doing sort of destination fisheries? Speaking of clam, so what are some products that they have out right now that you're really excited about?
You know, to be honest with you,
on this one, we are joined by a family that absolutely lives and breathes the outdoors. We are joined by John and Ashley Holmgren, who have a great time doing hunting, fishing, bringing their kids out to just enjoy everything the outdoors has to do. And we talk a little bit about destination fisheries, how to pack for them with kids, and just really have a great time on the ice. John, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah. I mean, when we first met, we were working at a little pizza place together in town here. And I think the first time you ever asked me what I was doing, I was going out deer hunting by myself. And like, is that with your boyfriend? And I was like, no, I'm going out on my own. He's like, all right. So,
and for the rest is history.
Yeah. So,
there you go. You got to hang on to that one.
Yeah. I think our first date was spearing, and we were just kind of started doing all those things together, you know, right from the start. And so as we continued on, we just, you know, have such a passion for the outdoors together. And it's just always what we want to do. And as we had kids and had our family, you know, that has never changed for us. We just continue to bring them along, and they love it just as much as we do. And so,
yeah. And our Devoted Outdoors kind of started with the idea of just kind of capturing the moments for ourselves and our family. Really, we didn't have any aspirations or anything at that time to make it to where it's at now. But we just kind of wanted to capture the moments. Someday we're going to be old and decrepit and we can't go out fishing anymore. So we thought it'd be fun to just be able to sit in the old nursing home rocking chair and watch our videos back at some point in life. Yep. So it's kind of where it all started. And then a couple of our buddies are like, well, you guys do good fishing and you guys are pretty good behind the camera and stuff. So then we started kind of venturing off from there. And then I'd say probably about 7 years ago, I think it was 7 years ago, was our first actual video that we ever filmed. Okay. And then from there, we were on a lot of pro staff and stuff already. And since then, I would say, I think we're at like 90% of our sponsors now are people that we've worked with for that whole entirety. So It's been really cool. And it's just been fun to grow it to where it's at now and to help other families and other individuals understand that, you know, it doesn't have to be that hard to go out and do it. And having kids shouldn't hold you back from being in the outdoors. In fact, it should drive you even more. So,
yeah.
Definitely, that's one thing I appreciate the most out of you guys. You just you keep it very real and relatable, especially for people with families. And it's just great to see you getting out there with the kids and stuff. Just like you said, just not letting it hold you back. And, you know, just seeing the wonder in their eyes when they start doing this for the first time. And it's almost indescribable. So it's so fun. I remember I just recently took out my 4-year-old daughter to ice fishing, and you know, we've had them out, but this one was kind of just an adventure with the two of us. We had just it was just a couple hour thing. We had gotten back from doing a little bit of family snowboarding at a local resort, and then we had probably 3 hours before it was dark. So I was like, "Hey, Ava, you want to go on an adventure?" She's like,
that's awesome.
So it's we're gonna go on a treasure hunt. We're gonna follow the map. We're gonna find the spot, and then we're gonna use the magic wand to find the treasure. So we went on a little basin crappie mission, and awesome. I drove out in the 4-wheeler, and I gave her the phone, and it's like, okay, this little red dot this red arrow is us, and we got to go to the treasure spot on the map. And yeah, she was a trooper. trooper. I mean, bundled her up, and it was kind of cold and the weather wasn't the best, but yeah, she reeled in 2 super nice crappies. So it was awesome. It was a proud dad moment. So
that's awesome.
Heck
It
yeah.
is. That's the funnest part, honestly. It's like we were talking the other day, like when we went to Winnipeg, that was a really, really special trip for us because it was just so, I don't know, it just brings in that extra excitement as an adult now. I mean, you get after a little while, you can get numb to some of that stuff, and then it just brings in just that extra rush of excitement again to watch your kids relive through those moments that you did too. So
yeah, and I think that's so important too, just making it fun. That's the name of the game, right? Like you're going out on a treasure hunt, like you're heading out there as a family, you're on an adventure, just keeping that exciting and that excitement for them. And they love it. It's such a fun time to spend together for sure.
Yep, absolutely. I'm really glad you guys brought up Winnipeg because I'm super interested in like bringing out the kids to that lake, because if anybody's fished Winnipeg before, it can be a very humbling lake. It can really take a toll on all your gear. I mean, pretty much anybody that's been to Winnipeg multiple times has horror stories of like things breaking down, and just to like add kids to the element of going to that lake is like, wow, like more power to you for that. So how do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, just being honest, I think we didn't even really think about it. We just kind of just said, we're going to do it. Like, it's just, we've been up there now, a handful of times, and it's just so fun. And the bite, like when you get on those bites, as you know, it's pretty intense and can be just crazy. So we're like, well, let's bring them up there, catch your first greenback. And then,
I think it's important too, like, when you do take a kid, maybe somewhere specific like that for first time, trying it out a couple times. So I think that helped too. We've been up there a few times, so we kind of knew the drill. We knew we were going to be, moving. We knew what to look for when we got up there, that sort of thing. So kind of doing a little bit of your back work before you bring the kids, so that you can try to get them on a good bite and
bring lots of food.
Lots of food.
Gotta have the snacks. You can never go snackless.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, and we kind of added a little bit of fun to it too, because we did ice camp out there too. So we brought all the camping gear. We brought the cooker out there, and we were gonna cook dinner and all that. So they were really excited about just the whole camping on the ice experience too. Yeah. So, and
when we go up to Winnipeg, the biggest thing is we always watch the weather. I mean, we're fortunate to live here where we're at, so it's only about a 4-hour drive for us. And at the last minute, if it wasn't looking good, we weren't going to bring them up there and drag them through that brutal. But it was we got lucky again this year. It's 35 degrees and it was beautiful. No wind at all, 0 wind. I mean, just gorgeous. So the weather, we got lucky on the weather too. So
yeah, that's kind of a rarity for up there. I mean, they call it Big Windy for a reason. And
exactly.
I mean, I think I've been up there maybe 5 times now, and I think there's only been like 1 day where it wasn't windy. So to hit that was pretty nice. But yeah, like you said, if you don't have to travel too crazy far, you can watch the weather a little bit more, because usually it's my trips there. It's like I've planned it 2 months in advance, and I am just absolutely at the mercy of Mother Nature. And that can be super intimidating, especially if you're going to like bring your kiddos with and stuff like that. But it sounds like you're doing it right anyways. What sort of like vehicle did you take up there?
We just drove our 2500. We got lucky there too. The ice was really good. There was only one major crack that we had to cross. That we just took our time going out there. Just that's one thing about big windy as well, is it can be very dangerous. I mean, at any time that wind can open cracks, cold weather can open cracks. But we crossed the major crack where everybody had been crossing, so we knew that was safe. And then we just took our time going out there and just making sure that if anything didn't look right, we just check it. But yeah, we drove our truck out there. Conditions were actually really good for driving out there. We went out of the east side this year. So,
there wasn't a lot of snow.
Not much snow. You could see where there was cracks, if any. And so it was good going when we went. So,
that's good. So, what's your mentality fishing Winnipeg earlier in the season versus like the March bite?
I know both can be good. But we typically tend to go right after Christmas time.
Okay.
We tend to go early. So yeah, that's just kind of when we've always gone.
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest with you, I think that if you're willing to put in the miles and the work on Winnipeg, I think you can go any time of the year and it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think after us being there enough times now, we've experienced that the biggest thing for us is if we are not catching fish at that time, there's always a pot of fish somewhere on that lake that is willing to eat.
Yeah.
And so we do not stay in one spot for very long if we're not catching them. We are moving constantly, finding, following those pressure cracks, following snow-covered ice, any areas. It's really no different than chasing crappies out on Red Lake. Anywhere you can find structure above the ice, whether that be a crack or snow or whatever, broken up ice. We just keep on bouncing and bouncing and bouncing until we find those fish. And I think we've discussed this before. We truly believe you can go to Winnipeg, I think, and weather is totally different. if you get the right weather, the right pressure and stuff, I think you can have a good day out on Winnipeg every, at whenever, I don't think there's a certain time. March has always been, people always said March, which we never fished up there. We haven't fished up there long enough for me to say that March wouldn't be better. So we can't really say that. Wouldn't be fair to say that, but versus what our experience has been versus what other people have told us March are like, they're pretty similar. And we've always gone early in the season. So
yeah, I mean, it's just such a big, expansive lake. And it's just a bowl too. I like how you related it to Red too. It's like for people that haven't been up there, it's like, well, have you fished Red Lake? All right. They're basically the same mentality. It's a giant bowl. You just have to search, and then your structure is, the ice instead of the bottom. So, and I find it really fascinating, like levels of snow cover make a huge difference too.
Huge difference.
If you have a crack, and it's not necessarily just the crack. It's like all of the snow that's blown around it and the light changes. Like that's what has a big difference on it too. So it's just kind of that way of thinking is super interesting.
Well, and the other thing too is like it's no different than the Red Lake crappies. I don't know if you've been able to get over there or not and fish them, but I feel like in a shallow water bowl lake like that, and with the amount of bait that are in both those lakes, these fish don't get that big for a reason. I mean, those things aren't going to miss a meal. I mean, if they come by and they see a meal, they're going to eat it. Like, and more times than not, I mean, they're way less finicky than a lot of walleye lakes that we've found.
Absolutely.
Now, don't get me wrong, there can be days where, we've had a few days where it hasn't been as good, but you're still going to catch fish when you're out there, as long as you're willing to put in that work. And they don't get that big for no reason. They're so fat, and it's no different than those Red Lake crappies. When they come in, man, they are they slam it. It's crazy.
They're basically like the closest thing I've seen to a piranha when they're really after it on that lake. It's so fun. Yeah. I've went after them a few times. The first time was like later in the season. I think it was the last week of like when Minnesota walleye was open last year. So we'd catch some walleye and then we go chase some crappie, and they were like really schooled up at that point. And it was like, if you're on them, it is just wild. Absolutely wild. And if you're not on them, they're not there. So just keep searching. So, and like snow cover was a huge thing there last year, because there was big pockets from like roads that were left over, and they would sit under them. Yeah, it was cool. And then I tried again early season this year, and it was very different than the March bite, because they weren't really schooled up as much. There was a lot of just like pairs and smaller schools roaming around. And I did find one big group that was under like a weird sheet of ice, because there was probably a foot of ice out there, but then there was this one spot that was probably a couple 100 yards long by maybe 40 yards wide that had these like sheets of ice that had kind of formed, and it probably went down like 4 or 5 feet. And, and like when you would drill, like the ice chunks would come up into your hole. And I couldn't even get a deucer through in some spots, but the crappie just sat there because there were like light differences or whatever. And it was like super frustrating because, I couldn't get my lure down to them, but
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just like Winnipeg. Like we find a lot of spots like around the cracks and stuff where you get sheets of ice that just like pile on top of each other. And sometimes you can't even get your auger through them.
Yep, exactly.
So, and then that's where they're at. Those are the right spots to fish. And then you just work your way around them to where you can find those openings. And
they're there for a reason. You have to figure out ways to like drill as close as you can to those multiple sheets. And, you know, like you're not on the spot, but you're on, you know, you're as close as you can get. So that's super cool. Kind of circling a little bit back to like fishing with your kids when you're up on Winnipeg. So would you go into search mode, and then when you felt like confident this was going to be a good spot, then you get the kids going, or how did that exactly work?
Yeah, I mean, we drove out and we're kind of checking some spots that we thought, you know, finding that heavy snow cover, that sort of thing. So we would drill, search. The first spot that we put down and found a decent amount of fish, we got the kids out, you know, and we were marking a few and got them on their first ones, and then packed everybody up, kept moving, that sort of thing, which is really nice when you have a vehicle like that, you know, when you're able to take the truck out, they can stay warm and you can kind of search and hunt and find that spot that you're looking for. So we did that probably about half of the day. And then as it was getting towards that afternoon, we found a really good heavy bunch of fish. And so we're like, okay, this is where we're going to set up. This is where we're going to, you know, set up camp for the night. And then that's what we did, and just caught a bunch in the house. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was a beautiful day out too. So they were out with us every time we'd stop or whatever. They were out running around, playing with each other,
wrestling each other,
or fishing. They love to fish too now. It's kind of fun because they're in that age now where they literally will grab their own Vexilars. They'll literally put their own bait on and they'll go fishing. And it is, Ashley and I find ourselves so many times now just sitting back, and we're not even fishing anymore. We're just watching them fish. It's fun. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. So, how old are they now?
10 and 8.
10 and 8. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're definitely old enough to be dangerous now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have the courage to bring my 4-year-old up there yet, but I have a 4 and a 9-year-old daughters. So the 9-year-old, maybe she's not quite as into fishing as the 4-year-old is though. It's like, so one's got the age and not the hunger, and then the other one's got the hunger and not the age. So the key now is just to keep them engaged and interested.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah.
Well, it's no different. Like Braylon, I would say we always thought Braylon was going to be, she's our 10-year-old, and we always thought she was going to be just the fishing fiend. And then, and Brindley, we thought, you know, she was going to be, you know, good at fishing too, whatever. But it's kind of funny because Braylon, she still loves to fish, like absolutely loves it, but she is really big into hunting. Okay. So Braylon's big thing is hunting. She's loves turkey hunting, grouse hunting, and she shot her first deer this year. And so she's just all jacked up about the hunting. She still loves to fish, and then Brindley, our youngest one, she hasn't gotten to hunt as much. So she's just all about the fishing. So we get kind of torn in a couple different ways. Come fall time.
I mean, you're hunting or you're fishing. You're not making a bad decision there either way. No. And you bring up turkey hunting. That is, in my opinion, that's the best way to get a kid into hunting, because it's like, okay, you've been, you know, maybe cooped up more than you'd like to be in the winter. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's getting nice out. The woods are coming alive. And, you know, just seeing a kid's eyes the first time they hear like a gobble in their face, like, what was that?
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's just so much excitement. You don't have to be as quiet as like deer hunting. You can be a little bit more restless, but
exactly. Yeah. And get the kids in a blind. They can, you know, they can move around a little bit. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for people that are really interested in getting their kids out to do like destination or even just fishing around the area, what are some of your best recommendations besides bring a bunch of snacks?
I think gear is important because you want them to be comfortable and warm. You know, we have the ice armor suits for our girls. They stay nice and dry, blocks out the wind, that sort of thing. So just making sure that they have good equipment. You know, you don't want them getting cold and uncomfortable when they're out there. Get them a good pair of boots, that sort of thing. And, you know, even hot hands or anything that they can stay warm, or maybe fish in a house if you can with some heat, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the equipment nowadays is, so much better than it used to be when we were kids.
Yeah.
It's come a long ways. So it makes that a lot easier. But I would say another thing is just make sure you're scoping out the bites that you're going on.
Yeah.
Don't go try to chase down lake trout with kids. Get them on an action-packed bite, a good pack of jumbo perch or bluegills or crappies or something that they're going to just be able to go to town on for their first few experiences. Get them excited about it.
And I think at that age too, when you're a kid, every fish you catch is a trophy. So it's not like you have to be on some big bite or anything like that. Just get them on some fish, get them excited about it, and really just praise them and be excited for them as they learn too. So, and
if they're younger, and whatever, then, keying in on those, good time frames, evening, morning bites, just making sure that they have a good time, have fun, crank some music, bring some snacks, have a good time, hang out, go play around, tell them to go walk to the woods and back.
Yeah, there you go.
Go discover some things in the woods.
Yeah. Generally, I'll bring like a sled with too. And make sure to have a shovel so we can like build snow forts and stuff.
Yep.
So, because let's be honest, attention span of a kid is not that long. So it's a numbers game when you're fishing, and you got to have a backup plan.
For sure.
Yeah. So, shifting gears a little bit to just like destination fishing. I'm a little bit your background for people that are watching this on YouTube, in your cabin right now. But I had planned to do this when you guys were on the ice on Superior. And Mother Nature kind of had a little bit of other plans. But can you just walk us a little bit through like preparation for doing sort of destination fisheries like a Superior or things like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think just make sure, we kind of have somewhat of a checklist, as we're going out, just making sure that you have everything that you're going to need, and even, backups of things in case, if you get to way out in a destination, you're going to if something breaks or something, you got to make sure that you're prepared, you have backups and plan ahead,
Yeah, I mean, we bring multiple augers, we'll bring multiple batteries, stuff that we know that if we're getting out, away from home, then you got what you need there. But also doing your homework. I feel like, we've talked about this many times, versus back in the day, like we just feel that being able to do your homework before you go to a destination nowadays is so much easier. I mean, there's, it's no different than what we do. We like to help educate people in that when we do our YouTube shows, showing them how to do certain destination shows and what it takes to do that. There are so many instructional videos out there. There's so many, articles. There's just a lot that you can do to help yourself just be that step ahead further before you even go. I feel like that's one of the biggest things nowadays that makes it a little easier.
Yeah. Something else that came to mind too is maybe going with other people, so if you don't have two augers at home, you can go with somebody else, have them bring their gear, that sort of thing too, kind of tag team. That also helps you really break down some areas with more people power, that sort of thing too. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay. For my own selfishness, what's the difference between going to Winnipeg for greenbacks versus Superior like you were going to do it? Going for what, lake trout?
Yeah, we were going to go for salmon and trout.
Okay.
Brown trout. That's what we love about Shad so much. It's like one of our favorite places to go because you don't know when you set the hook, you don't know what it is. I mean, it could be brown trout, splake, lake trout, coho salmon, king salmon, eel pout, smallmouth bass, perch, walleye, sturgeon. It could be anything.
And they all fight like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like, what is the differences like packing list?
It just depends on like the year. Like Shigwamigan, you definitely have to have a different transportation other than a vehicle.
Okay.
That's one of the big things. I would say, your gear, like when we go for walleyes and stuff, obviously our gear is going to be a little bit different than what we're doing for Shigwamigan. Line size, reel size, what we're bringing for, tackle, bait or no bait. Crossing the border is a big one.
Yeah.
Making sure that you have everything. Like when you go to Winnipeg, you got to make sure that you have everything in a row and everything correct, doing your homework before you're crossing the border. If you've never crossed the border, it's just something good to look into before you go, because you need a passport or your 2 forms of ID. And, there's certain things you can and can't bring across, and different rules. So you go to Canada, can't use barbs up on Lake Winnipeg. That's something that probably a lot of people don't know. There's quite a few people that go out there and fish with barbs unknowingly. So regulations.
Yep. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So right before we started filming this podcast, I got a call from one of the stores, St. Cloud. Wonderful gal by the name of Sandy helps run that page. And she's like, "Hey, Mike, heard you doing a podcast at the end of the week." I'm like, "Yes. Yeah." With John and Ashley Holmgren. It's like, "Yeah, we just worked out a pro staff agreement with them." And I was like, wow, talk about timing. I can bring this right up on the podcast. So first of all, that's awesome. Congratulations being part of the SCHEELS team. How did that come to be? And what do you guys plan to do?
It's really no different than a lot of our, like we said, a lot of our partners. We like to work with people that we believe in, people that have the same beliefs as we do. SCHEELS falls right in line with everything that we believe and stand for. Family run business, started from the ground up, hardworking. Nothing came easy to get to where SCHEELS is now. And nothing's come easy to get to where Devoted is. If everybody looks at our Instagram page and our Facebook page and thinks it was all peaches and cream to get here, there's a lot of things that people don't understand that you have to sacrifice and things that you have to do to get here. And SCHEELS brand understands that, along with pretty much everybody else that we partner with. So it fell right in line. And
we were able to meet Sandy actually down at the St. Cloud store. We were doing a live too.
Yeah, we did the live down there with them.
Yeah. And so that's where we got to talking with her and met Jake down there too. So we just really hit it off and got along right away. And we kind of talked about possible partnerships in the future and met up with them, and the rest is history. We're super excited to be partnering with SCHEELS, and we're pumped. Yeah,
we're super excited. So
I'm excited too. What sorts of types of content can we expect from you guys? Are you going to do mostly fishing? Are you going to do some hunting stuff too?
That was one of the best parts, was that I don't know if people don't know, Ashley and I had our show actually on TV on Valley Sports for a year. Things were just a lot different than we were anticipating with that. It didn't fit us. After our first full season, we didn't feel like it fit us the best, just because we had to wait so long to put shows out. A lot of things that you do and a lot of things that people don't understand with TV is it takes a while before you can air your shows. And so it was just kind of frustrated us a little bit to, have to wait to put stuff out. And so then we talked to all of our sponsors and went back to YouTube, which we're super excited about, because now gives us the freedom. And the best part is we love hunting just as much as we do fishing. And we do it all. We hunt grouse, we hunt pheasants, deer. Ashley is going to try and shoot a caribou within the next year or two.
Ooh, nice.
I'm trying to pull a moose tag right now, which is getting tougher and tougher to do, but I think I'm on the right track now. So we love to do it all. Mushroom foraging is a huge thing. And so now we just feel like we can provide our whole lifestyle. It's not really just hunting or fishing. It's just the way that we live. And I think that's the most exciting part for us of what our future holds. So, and we also own a media company, sister company to Devoted Outdoors Media. And we've been growing that big time too. So that's been taken off and it's been awesome. So,
yeah, that seems to be the real trajectory in a lot of media outlets. Is just moving to YouTube now, because you can put out what you want at the time you want, and it's just it's just a super efficient process. I've never really dove into anything with the the TV side of things, but YouTube is there's a lot of freedom to it, and you can get a lot of views too.
Yep. And it's free.
Free for everyone.
TV's not cheap, and we had to jump through a lot of hoops that we didn't really know about we can give a huge shout out to Jason Mitchell. He really helped us out we're fortunate to know Jason well through Clam, and he helped us out there. So a big shout out to him to help us get through some of those hoops, because it was always kind of a dream of ours to be. Our show aired right after Linder's Angling Edge, so that was pretty humbling, cool experience for us to have our show on right after Linder's, after looking up to them guys for years. So.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Clam, so what are some products that they have out right now that you're really excited about that you're using right now that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, one thing that we started using this year, they just came out with a new heater, which is awesome. It's super nice because you can really dial in the heat. So there's no like just a couple like low, medium, high settings. You can really dial it into exactly what you want, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's huge for the thermal hub houses now. You can actually dial it in instead of just having a low, medium, and high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
that
we use
variable heat is super nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's beefy too.
Yeah,
a lot better.
Yeah. For sure.
Another thing that we've been really happy with too is the new shuttle package for them. The shuttle is super clean. It's got all the electronic ports that you'd want on it. And the pole is it's awesome. It's super lightweight, and it's very, very affordable compared to a lot of other shuttles out there right now. So
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been able to test them myself, but everyone I've talked to about both the shuttle and the pole have nothing but good things to say, and it's like for those price points too, it's like, if you're going to get a custom shuttle, those are about the cheapest ones that you're going to find. And they're like very feature rich and well designed for what they do.
I like that word, feature rich, because, you look at the development of shuttles over the last, 6-8 years, and a lot of them are just a box set to start off with, just to mount your deal on. And now, especially with filming and stuff, it's so nice to have all the different ports and all the different, and when with the new batteries that are out, you can run GoPros for days off of it, and it's
it's awesome.
Yeah, you get into that 50 amp hour range, and you can run a lot of stuff on those batteries for a long time.
Yeah. And, Clam's always coming out with new tackle too. To be honest with you, Ash and I we're really big old school standbys. If it works, we don't change it a whole lot. And we got a couple pieces of tackle from Clam that we would never give up a day in our life for. It's, I mean, the leech ribbon spoon, I think we've caught almost every species on that. I mean, trout, lake trout, greenback walleyes love the Clam ribbon.
Eel pout. Yeah.
Eel pout.
And the Wonder Bread.
Yep.
Yes, man. Wonder Bread is a legit color.
It's a classic.
It just seems weird that you would throw down something with just a pattern like that.
Yeah.
But it just flat out works.
It just does.
It does.
They like the bread.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and Clam came out with some really cool new plastics, like the NICU line. And I've really wanted to use them, but I have the most difficult time taking off my pinhead minnow if I'm fishing for panfish.
I don't disagree with you on that. The pinhead is bait or no bait.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing to do with it is I like to just toss a silky on there with so it's something a little bit extra, but I don't really have to worry about baiting it or anything like that. And
and they last forever. They stay on.
It really
forever.
does. They actually they get better with age because all the strands start to kind of loosen up and you can get them to the length you want. And you think just some pieces of I don't know, whatever they are. It's not silk, but whatever material
thread,
it is, just thread together with a little ball, and they just flat out catch fish.
Yep.
It was fun because we when those were coming out, we actually got to take Dave Gens to one of our favorite bluegill holes, and that's when they were just coming out, and he busted them out and showed them to us before they were even a thing yet. And we got to see him right away. And that was a fun day to be able to be there with, having him create those and show us those.
Yeah.
That was a cool day for us. So.
Oh, I believe it. Any day you can actually fish with Dave Gens, that's a good day.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. We're very fortunate to have those opportunities. So
100%. So, how about, I can't remember the name of the new like rattle bait, search bait. But do you try
the
any?
Psycho Shad.
Yeah, that's the one, the Psycho Shad. Did you spend any time with it up on Winnipeg?
We didn't this year just because we had some width, and to be honest with you, we had our Wonder Bread bleach ribbons where they were just crushing it. So we should have used it a little bit, but we got to use them last year out on red.
Okay.
And they
they were crushing.
That and lake trout too. Lake trout love them too. So they are cool. Very, very, very cool bait. And they are, Winnipeg's always been known for that rattle bait bite. And I know a lot of guys like Cornell up there is crushing them on them. So
nice. Yeah. Winnipeg, they see it's like they're either hitting big spoons or they're hitting rattle baits or they're hitting both. And the days where they're hitting both are the really fun days.
For sure.
Love it. How about like the clothing and gear? Are there any certain pieces that you guys will just stand behind 100%?
I love the Blackfish Storm Skin. That is, hands down, no matter what the weather, I always have that on underneath my suit so that, if it's nice out, you can always lose the jacket and you can just have that. But it's super, super warm for one article of clothing. It's going to keep you super comfortable and warm all day. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the suits from Clam there's no denying it. They're very well thought out. They're very comfortable. They're very warm. And honestly, like Ashley said, the Blackfish, like I'm wearing the Gale vest right now. I literally have I don't think I've worn my actual ice armor jacket other than like maybe a snowmobile ride into a trout lake or something. Yeah. I don't think I've worn my actual ice armor jacket for 2 years because the Blackfish lineup is just so windproof. So, all my buddies and everybody that's ever tried them is always, anybody we know, they would never give up their Blackfish stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's nice to have
their ice armor.
For sure, for layering.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's so comfortable, so much mobility versus it's just,
Well, so that's one thing about the vests is like, you keep your core warm and then you don't sacrifice any mobility with it. It's just, I'll pretty much always wear a vest when I'm out there now because it's like so easy to be layered, so easy to keep your core warm, and they're just they're nice. And I'll definitely back you, Ashley, with that storm skin. It's like putting on a pillow. It's so nice.
It is. You just it's cozy right up.
You almost think you're bougie when you put it on, but it's like, man, this thing is so comfortable. I can just sit here all day, a little smile on my face. They're nice. If you haven't tried one on, just go to SCHEELS and put one on and you'll understand.
Yeah, for sure.
Odds are you're probably going to walk out the door with one of them.
Yes. For sure.
Love it.
The new hand warmers are pretty cool from Clam too.
Okay. You're talking the rechargeable ones?
Yeah, they work great for even hunting. Like awesome for sitting in a bow stand on a cold day. Mm-hmm. It just keeps your hands warm
and they're hot.
They get
plenty hot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long does it take to get one of those like fully charged and how long will they last?
It honestly doesn't take that. They charge fast. And then, we'll even charge them in the truck on the port on the truck and it doesn't take long and they'll last, they last a good, if you want to go sit on a deer stand for a half a day, it's going to last you. Mm-hmm. So,
okay. Yep. So do they work independently of each other too? Like you turn one on, leave one off and all that too?
Yep. So independently. Yep.
Nice. I think one good hack with that is like, especially if it's super cold out, like having one of them in your pocket and then having another where you like keep your batteries for your auger and stuff like that. Yeah. Just being able to have that like heat source. Definitely. So you make sure like your battery longevity helps. So I think just that concept, whether it's the new Clam ones or something else, like those little things are worth their weight in gold.
Oh, they are. Yep. For sure.
Love it. So awesome. Well, so what do we have to look forward to in the content you guys are going to be coming out with? Do you guys have any big trips coming up, things we can watch out for on the YouTube and social channels?
We do. We have a couple of really, we got one really, really good one in particular that we can't really say anything about yet, but it's going to be something that not very, very, very few people have ever done through the ice.
We have never done it.
We've never done it.
Okay.
It's going to be very high adrenaline if the bite is good. It's going to be wild. And so we got that one to look forward to. And that's coming in February. In between now and then, we're going to do a lake trout trip and go to Shawinigan. So we'll go to Canada, go do a lake trout trip up there.
Yeah.
And then
just a variety, I guess. Just, everything and anything that we just.
Lake of the Woods Pike, probably another one of those.
Okay.
We're actually going to do one of those. We've got a sweet little kicker to the one that we're going to do this year. So a lot of people don't know us, but we'll give a little teaser. You can catch those pike both on the ice and in the boat right away. So
we're going to do both.
Awesome.
So we're gonna kind of showcase that. That's where I grew up, was right there in Warwood. So I was fortunate to be able to fish Lake of the Woods and have that right in my backyard. But
yeah, it's an amazing fishery up there. I mean, if you haven't been there, do yourself a favor and put it up as high as you can on the bucket list and get up there, because it's some pretty phenomenal stuff.
Yeah. And then I don't know, we're just whatever comes about, and we're gonna then open water comes and hunting and turkey hunting and morel mushrooms, and then open water muskies and panfish and
all of it.
All of it. Love it.
All of it. As much as we can do.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to following along on YouTube and the social channels with your outdoor journeys and how you get the kids involved with all that stuff. And, appreciate you so much for, joining us on this segment.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. We're super happy to have been on. So.
All right. Best of luck out there.
Thank you.
Thanks.